Yo, what is going on, you guys? Thank you so much for tuning into this video. My name is Ryan, aka Arpit. First of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support. We're over 600 subscribers and it happened really fast and it just kind of blew me away. So seriously, thank you guys, and I just really appreciate all the support that you guys have shown so far. But for any of you guys that are new here to the channel, don't forget to subscribe if you guys are really interested in Nintendo Switch content. That's really all that I cover on here. And today we're going to be talking about a game called No Straight Roads. It came out about a week ago. I've been meaning to put this out a lot sooner than this, but things have been busy, and so hopefully you guys still watch this video. But without further ado, let's get into the review. So first we are going to cover just some story and gameplay, then we'll get into the positives, the negatives, and my final verdict. Let me start off this review by first saying you can really tell how much love and devotion was put into this game. And while this game didn't deliver on everything it was trying to, it was an experience that I really enjoyed. And there were times I was surprised, but in both positive and negative ways. The two main characters are Mayday and Zook, who make up the Bunk Bed Junction, a rock group trying to make it in a city that runs on electronic dance music, or EDM. After being turned away at the Lights Up audition, they are on a mission to prove that rock is not only relevant, but it is strong enough to change Vinyl City. Now, May and Zook are determined to change things, so they go out to hijack the venues of the major EDM stars. Now, as far as the gameplay, it feels like a rhythm-based beat-em-up to me, since a lot of the attacks of enemies are synced to the music. But you can switch between Mayday and Zook, May being more of a heavy hitter, while Zook offers lighter attacks that don't hit as hard. Now let's get into some positives about No Straight Roads. Now for me, the highlight of this game was easily the boss battles. Boss battles are definitely my favorite because the music played in most of the boss battles is really well done. It's all original music made for this game. As you make your way through different waves of the battle, the music slowly transitions from EDM to rock, ultimately by the end of the battle being mostly rock. Now, one critique I have of these boss battles is that there are not any save points during any of the waves, so it may take you a couple tries to figure out the different waves. The reason that's a problem is because these are some really long battles, and so having some save points would be nice. The reason it's tricky is just because you're trying to figure out all the different ways that the boss attacks, and so sometimes by the time you figure it out, you can be on really low health and you just don't make it out alive. So it really sucks when you have to go back to the very beginning of the boss battle. The way the gameplay is set up though, it really is highlighted in the boss battles because it's less about the actual attacks and more just about listening to the music and learning about how to dodge your attacks and then time your own attacks correctly. And so that's really why I feel like this is the highlight of the game. Now, another highlight for me was the cinematics. This being an indie game, these cinematics with voice acting really felt like a AAA title. The colors are really vibrant and really shine through in these cinematic sequences. Now, I actually would have really loved this game to really only be the boss battles and then get rid of all the rest, because the other aspects of this game is where you run into some issues. Now, when you aren't hijacking venues and taking out these bosses, you spend your time running through Vinyl City and hanging out in the sewer, which also happens to be your hangout. At the hangout is where you can get upgrades for May and Zook through a skill tree. The more fans you have, the more you're able to unlock, and you gain these fans by either repairing things throughout Vinyl City or performing well in those hijacking venues. Now, walking through Vinyl City feels really clunky, and I just mean that in that the controls, it's almost like the world just feels too small for how sensitive the characters move. This is further problematic because there are extreme loading delays and frame drops when you're walking through the city. And this is definitely where the game feels pretty unpolished. Now, in order to get to the venues, you have to make your way through these different security checkpoints where you're taking out these smaller enemies while platforming your way through. Both the security checkpoints and Vinyl City sort of feels like a little fluff, and it kind of goes back to my point of just wanting this game to be a boss battle driven game. And maybe part of that was the performance issues and the awkward platforming. But I really just think a big part of it too is just the really good, strong gameplay is in those bosses. And so the rest of it for me just felt like a lot of fluff. Now, luckily, a lot of these things are things that can be fixed in a future patch, which the devs said that they are working on. So probably some of these issues should be fine-tuned, and then that'll probably help me get over my thing of this game just wanting to be the boss battles. Now let's get into the verdict. So this game for me deserves a really solid 6.5 out of 10 for me. Now, I will say, if there were save points added in boss battles, the platforming didn't feel so clunky, and the performance issues were cleaned up, I would easily bump this up to an 8 or even an 8.5 because the rest of the game is really super enjoyable. Now, as the game stands right now, it's definitely hard for me to endorse a $40 price tag on this game, and probably that's where some of the rating falls in there for me too. So honestly, if this is a game that you think looks interesting and you love like beat 'em up style games, this is definitely a game that's unique for sure, and it still has some really strong points with its bosses and the music, but I would wait for a sale on this game. And it's really just because I just don't think that the performance you're getting with the game fits that full $40 price tag. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a game I really enjoyed for sure. And it's a game, like I said, if it had those handful of fixes, it would easily be up there on, you know, a top tier game. But as it stands right now, that's probably where I would suggest for most of you just to wait for a sale on this game, just where it's a little bit cheaper so you're not as affected or disappointed by some of the performance issues. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure and like this video and subscribe so you guys don't miss out on any of my future videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.